In this video, I'm going over page 10 in the Unit 1 packet, and it has to do with temperature conversions. Now, the good thing is we are not going to do anything with Fahrenheit, so I'm not going to make you convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit, which is a more difficult calculation. This one is what we are doing in this class is just between degrees Celsius and Kelvin. It's not a big deal. People don't say degrees Kelvin, they just say Kelvin, although if you said degrees Kelvin, I wouldn't care. But if you hear me say just degrees Celsius and Kelvin, that's why. All right, there's not a whole lot you have to remember with this. What you want to remember is that Kelvin is always bigger. All right, so Kelvin is always a larger number, and it is bigger by 273.15. That is the conversion factor. All right, so if you remember that, you should be able to do these problems, no big deal. All right, if we look at the examples here, down the bottom, notice how this first set, they're all in Celsius. Well, if Kelvin is always the larger number, and it's bigger by 273.15, then if I start with Celsius, I want to get to a bigger number, so I have to add 273.15. Now, this first one, and a lot of these are like this. You notice how they are whole numbers, and since you are adding or subtracting, you go by the least number of decimal places. So if you're starting off with a whole number, you can ignore that 0.15 part of the equation. It's just you have negative 200 degrees Celsius. I want to get the Kelvin, which is a bigger number, so I do plus 273, and that just gives you an answer of 73 Kelvin. Remember, you don't have to put the degree sign, but if you do, whatever, not a big deal. Negative 100 degrees Celsius, that gives you 173 Kelvin, right, because you're just adding 273 to it. Now, I'm just going to jump around a little bit. For number 11, you notice how it has the decimal points in there. So now I'm going to pay attention to that 0.15 part of the equation there, right? 273.15. I ignored it for the other ones because they were whole numbers. So now when you get the answer for that, it's 546.30 Kelvin. All right, now number 12, negative 273.15, so we add 273.15. That gives you an answer of 0.00 Kelvin, which is a significant number, which we'll go over together at some point. All right, now the bottom of the page, you're starting with Kelvin for all these. So you're starting off with Kelvin, you're going to Celsius. Remember, Kelvin is the larger number. So for these, what I have to do is subtract 273. Now, again, if it's a whole number, I don't have to do the 0.15. I just do 273 because the 0.15 will get rounded out anyway. All right, so now for this, I get negative 273 degrees Celsius. Or for 100 Kelvin, I'm going to subtract 273 from it. So I get negative 173 degrees Celsius. Remember, when you do this, Kelvin is always the bigger number. So I have positive 100 Kelvin is the same as negative 173 degrees Celsius. The same general idea. Pay attention to significant, or well, least number of decimal places. Number 9, technically, you can get an answer for it on paper. Technically, it's not really a feasible number in reality, but we'll go over that in person, or when we're talking live over the computer. But that's how you do this page. Remember, really the main thing, Kelvin is always a larger number, and it's bigger by 273.15. If you remember that, you will be able to do any of these temperature conversions, no problem.